the first day, we will sway in an ocean of lead, lost in its mouth, on the bone of its lips, and we will leave for the island of bowels, our feet broken, thorns of piglets in our throats. On the first day, we will breathe, we will walk, we will brush against the cedar's vagina, and we will wake like deformed fingers in our skull. Our mouth, then, will swallow everything. Words of ore, the mucus of eels, barely formed grasshoppers in a pool of milk. On the first day, you will slip through my hands like a dog that reeks of tits, and I will wonder how to bleed on your face, how to plunge a wreath of tar in your chest. How can walls amputate without empires? I will think of animals brushing against each other, their anus covered with petals, and I will bow my head to stop breaking my teeth. A bird will fly by and ignore me, and time will feel like the craving to vomit. All that is will sink into the dark order of twisted gardens, of torn ova, of eyes concealed by blows, and the skin of tadpoles will gently rock us like an ocean of inverted dandelions. On the first day, I will draw a field of irises, a river through the bird's hymen, a donkey between your lips. I will walk next to you, a rain of alveoli beneath my eyes, and I will murmur the name of all that is spawned in the orange grove. All things, then, will be present. The fjord's creatures, the hunger of dawn, fields of snow that yearn and devour. All things will be present, and all things will hurt, drilling wasp in our shoulder, recalling the texture of saliva on the bed, urging us to bore a hole into the uterus, to wander among the trees of asphalt. On the first day, I will wait for you at dusk in a cathedral of dwarfs, where stones smell of birds and of birth, and I will point to a sky that heaves its geese and a calf that time forgot. I will trace the scale of a jellyfish on your breast, and the wounds of wool against my cheek, and I will draw a wind that moves like a finger in your vagina. I will say, look, this is the end of tulips, of caterpillars, of pores that exhale, of nails that bore through, the end of fleas, of maggots, of wet lilac, the end of crows. I will say, bow to everything that is defeated. Holler when hornets lay their eggs in the mule. Swallow hail when the lamb tears off its eyeballs. That day, all things will reveal themselves, and time will writhe from cockroaches to embryos. That day, we will share the world with flowers of cement and forests of fasting. We will share the world with monkeys stained with sperm glued to the earth. That day, the island of bowels will raise us up. It will talk of walls made of bees, of dogs yearning for their birth, of gods howling on our face. That day, all will be you screaming in my arms, forever lost in an abbey of rain and lilac, buried at the foot of a tree that cannot remember how to disappear. On the second day, a fig tree shrouded in skin will grow. A face of orchids and cement will bloom. Stones will spread between your flesh and my hand. On the second day, mules will dream and suffocate. Eclipses will burst with hookworms, and all will echo the moan of wasps devoured by the praying mantis. On the second day, an apricot tree will rise through your abdomen. A fish will birth itself in your skull. We will lay the chalice on the nails of our mind. We will stare at a mountain sowed with misshapen bones, but we will not hear that everything suffers, that petals glide over the earth, that light bleeds like a dragonfly in your mouth. How will I then lay my fist on your forehead, weave the water lilies in your lungs, awaken to the animal that craves to be fed from your breast? That day, I will rupture you from the origin of youth, from the saliva of birth, from the need to be healed and blinded. I will shade you in the yearning to ache for the fracture in my eyes. I will tear you from the longing to puncture your breast, and I will abandon you like a child howling in the belly of a blooming cherry tree. On the third day, you will say, here is penance. Here on the bed lays the uterus. Here are the pines of stillness, the throat of morays, the straw to live and to stay buried. You will say, here lies the field of wounds and oranges, the vertigo of salt and amber. Here lies the shame of suckling on the moths of the apple tree, of touching the wings of a mangled sparrow. You will say, here lies the worms of your hands. You will say, show me the flesh of foals, the butterfly that burns like pollen in the ovum, that which abdicates, its mouth gorged with birds. Show me the desire to touch you, a desert of larvae on your eyelids. Take me in your arms before everything swells and devours itself. That day, you will ask, who lays its lips on all that is nails and dwarfs and fever and breasts? What angel sings that the single goal of awakening is to bury ourselves where we scream and howl? On the fourth day, once there will come a time in the fold of sand and darkness when I will carve a creature, when the Spirit will pull out your eyes and conceive of you and say, give birth to me, give me the language of your face, give me the words that smell of pastures before the illness of twilight. On the fourth day, the Spirit will say, nothing remembers when you wailed in the scent of wheat, when you drank the ocean of trees, when you ruled in the pus of all things, when everything copulated under your body like small animals defiled by dawn. The Spirit will say, take my hand, lay the eyeless heron between my legs. The world is a wreath of toads that defecate in your head, that scatters its feces on the haven of berries. Yes, the sky will soar, will dream and bend, and you will sway in the silence of lampreys and tumors. That day, I will glue my feet against your tongue. I will drink a uterus of mulberries in your throat. I will peel fruits of lime from your eyes. Fireflies will tumble in your pupils, and I will hear the stillness of your steps on the dark snow of mountains. That day, beyond wrongs or brightness, you will lie down, and I will reach for you and say, only the hound buried in the wall compels me to suffocate when I surrender in your church of lunes and millstone. On the 5th day, you will coil under my hands like a firefly in the stillness of thoughts. You will sow a rain of pain on the edge of the cedar. You will tell me, don't you hear that the sky screeches words of dust and children? I will stare at a hailstorm of maggots, watch my feet, my nose, my muscles droop and sag, my teeth yellowing, my verbs fracturing, and I will seek the hymn of thorns against the language of your withering. On the 5th day, a fly that smells of centuries, drunk with breaches and fissures, the lacework of its wings like a dawn of dandelions, will hiss and burn until the end of time aches and kneels. That day, broken and charred, eyeless eels in your bowels, you will lead me to the end of before. You will tend to me in the sheaves of corn. You will wash my heart with mutilated hands, and I will then understand that the island of life is to die without ever stopping. On the 6th day, I will watch loss. Under the sparrows of asphalt, I will look at the colors of its eyelashes, its fist on the rim of our touch. On the 6th day, I will wait for loss to breathe like a spider on a wall of steel, to pray for names in its throat. I will wait for loss to brush against us like a swarm of emeralds in the unspoken. On the 6th day, loss will say, I will be pregnant with 1,000,000 horseflies. I will be lush with lambs bleeding on your face, and I will hurt like the horizon. On the 6th day, loss will say, do not move, do not speak, for the sacrament of being within you cripples me like a wave that tastes of blood. That day, a god of lakes and ants will speak to us, its tongue buried in the bee's moisture. That day, a god of lice and pain will say, everything withers in your face, even that which you cannot stop, sheltering, slaughtering, devouring. On the 7th day, we will embrace in a sheet of placenta, wed in the last shadow before the locusts of metal. On the 7th day, we will drink from the mare's areola, my eyes bleeding from the softness of thistle, and the torpor of lilies will wash over us like a river of profane animals. On the 7th day, you will tell me the strange taste of the octopus, the flesh of irises, the peninsula of all that is anger. Everything is near. The age of harm, the hair that sleeps under carnations, the thirst that became bark. Everything is near, and everything quivers like a child writhing in a swarm of hummingbirds. On the 7th day, rivers will get lost, and trees will grow from our bowels. On the 7th day, I will listen to to a herd of forests, and I will carve a cross and a horn in your eyes. And all will see and keep silent. All will become a membrane of fingers and daisies. That day, you will say, "Bury me in flesh, bury me in a rapture of stones. You are so broken, your embrace is so damaged. You look like a prairie lost in the stillness of auroras." That day, you will say, "Lie down with me in an oasis of milk. Lie down with me in the hunger of grace. Listen to the chorale of thorns and look at me. Dusk has surrendered. We were only a twisted garden in the palms of morning."